Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Aleasha Bahr, and this is Introverted Entrepreneur Success Stories. I'm a sales coach for introverts, and I craft custom sales promises with you that allow you to sign up over 50% of the people you talk to without pain pitching or pretending to be somebody else. The idea for this show came from people like you who have the desire to be an entrepreneur, but might let being an introvert hold you back or make you think you're not cut out for it. So we decided it could be helpful to interview introverted entrepreneurs about their journey, success, and how they feel about sales. Because we found that sales is an unavoidable part of entrepreneurship and often the reason introverts shy away from it. So joining us on the show today is Sophie Frabotta. Sophie is a spiritual healer and coach. She heals you from emotional pain with unique methods that tap into your intuition. She has an international 5-month certification where she shows spiritual life coaches how to spread the message of transformation and healing that's available to everyone, no matter where you live in the world or what you're going through. Sophie, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much for having such a needed topic and space to talk about such an important thing. When I heard like introvert, I was like, oh, sign me up.
Well, I can see, if you have as much intuition as you have, that's often a big thing, one of the superpowers of an introvert, actually. So before starting a business, what did you do?
I worked for several different companies when I came out of college. I wasn't really ready to take the leap. I wanted to take the leap professionally, but I needed a little bit more experience. So I ended up working for some great opportunities that I learned a lot. But then I got to a point where I was just like, man, I feel like I can't smile. It's Friday night and I feel like I can't smile. And my smile is not for sale. And I was selling it to a company and they were basically draining me of my joy. So I crafted an idea and I was like, okay, here's how much I have in my savings, which was not a lot, but here's what I need to produce to use my savings along with my effort and launch my business. And that was back in 2007, 2008, when the economy was not in a great place and people thought I was crazy for leaving a job when I had a stable paycheck. But like I said, my smile was no longer for sale. So I took the leap and it's been 14 years and a lot of lessons and a lot of tears and a lot of successes. And, it's totally doable. It's totally possible.
Absolutely, it is. Okay. So that's wonderful. Before, I'm sure that a lot of people identify with, just basically hating their life. And it's so funny because I've made a lot of money in many jobs and I wasn't happy. And I left and people always thought I was crazy. And I say that entrepreneurs are the only people that have the audacity to want to make a lot of money and enjoy what they're doing. So I don't know why people act like getting in money is enough because your life is not about money. So it definitely helps. Don't get me wrong. Like with living maybe a kind of enriched life that you really enjoy, but if it's not enough on its own, it's just not enough. So anybody else who's feeling the same way, I hope that this is some inspiration for them. And maybe your breaking point is a little bit of a different point than Sophie's, but it's probably coming soon. So before starting a business, did you think being introverted was an asset or no?
I wasn't completely tuned into my introverted power, as I like to call it. When I started a business, I was still in the space of thinking that being an extrovert was the only way to operate in the world. And it wasn't until, I'm sure you're familiar with that book, Quiet.
I'm not.
Oh my gosh. I can't remember the author, but it's a book called Quiet. And basically it is talking about how 50% of us are not extroverts and the world is built on being an extrovert, and like, this is the way you should be. And it was that book that really started to help me feel like I had a voice and I could come home to my natural power. And they talk about, like, in corporate environments, how if you have like a team working on a project and an introvert's on that team, they may have less effective production than if you were to allow a different format for that introvert to prepare whatever it was that they were trying to come up with. So I felt like that book was very breakthrough, and it really helped me find my voice as an introvert and realize that I like to say I'm an ambivert, right? Like, I have these moments of extroversion and like high energy, but they're just moments. They're not across the board. And I love my alone time. I love filling up with myself. So it was in my journey of being an entrepreneur that I realized I wasn't an extrovert, and I was getting drained by doing extroverted habits of networking and connecting. And I wouldn't actually do as well in my craft if I had like a networking event in the afternoon. It's like my afternoon clients didn't get the best of me. And I was like, this is not balanced. So then I said, okay, well, let's just only do networking events at the end of the day then. So at least I'm giving my best to my sole passion and not giving my best to something that makes my work not as good. So it was like little things like that that I found along the way, and started to understand myself as an introvert, and what the power was in that. Like, I really feel like it is a power.
Total power.
And it just hasn't really had a big voice in the past, century. So
I know, I'm so happy that it is, and that people don't need to feel like weird about it, because there are so many benefits to it that help you get a better result in a lot of cases. It definitely helps you be better at sales. So what areas do you feel like it has been an asset to you?
I think mostly energetically, like really understanding how I get energy has been a game changer, because I'm like, okay, so if I need to produce content, like write a blog or create a module for my coaches or something, and I don't know I'm an introvert, and I just came off of a weekend where I was at a wedding and I traveled and I was at airports, I'm going to be beating myself up the entire next day, feeling like I'm not good enough, or I'm not producing enough, or why do I always have trouble when I just have an energy problem?
Yeah.
So if I understand that I need to have alone time to refill my tank, and maybe Tuesday or Wednesday is a better time to try to pour into that space energetically, then I've gained something. I've gained a power in understanding my energetics and how I can use my gifts in the best way if I understand my energy.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And it's so funny that you say that, because like, I don't know why summits and conferences are 3-day events, but they were clearly designed by extroverts for extroverts. I am absolutely exhausted. I will actually get ill after a 3-day event. I can't, and people will go to the event and then go out to happy hour afterwards. I'm like, who are these people? Like, I think it's really a superpower to get energy from other people. I can't imagine what that's like. I feel like I would just be able to get so much more done. But then extroverts say that they can't sleep a lot of times, actually, because like they're so hyped up from all the energy that they've gotten from people all day. So, pros and cons, I guess. We never really have as much of a sleep issue, I wouldn't say. But okay, so it helps you understand how to best serve your clients. How do you think, and I'm sure that's how introvert influences you as an entrepreneur too. Do you feel like it provides you any strengths interacting with clients, or like sales or anything like that?
Specifically being an introvert, I think in terms of my the way that I process and connect, I feel like there's a lot more listening. I think that extroverts tend to share and talk and fill up space, while an introvert is more used to like receiving. And so in all my, sales calls, it's always like, show me who you are. Like, I'm going to hold space for you to show me who you are first, because I know that coming into this, you've probably watched my story, read about my, you've maybe watched over 8 hours worth of free workshops that I have on my website. So that people come in feeling like they know me, but I don't know them. So I like to always open up that space to listen, and it's deep listening. It's really, it's not thinking of a response. It's like receiving information and collecting without judgment. And I think that process is very, it's what I've done my entire career, and it's always been very, very successful for me. So I receive who they are first, and then I tell them how I can serve them, how my offerings can take them from point A to point B in their life.
I love that so much. And it's absolutely what I talk about in sales. Not listening for a response, but listening to understand somebody and really hearing them. And it's a beautiful gift to offer somebody, because it so rarely happens that you feel heard truly. Especially the without judgment part is a really cool additional thing, if you can add that on. And I think that introverts are really good about that, because empathy is such a powerful thing in sales and a powerful introverted superpower. So to be able to feel for that person, it really takes away the judgment, because they were in a certain situation and they acted that way. Like they say, you can't judge someone until you walk in their shoes. So, as long as you didn't murder anyone, but then also, what if they deserved it? I don't know. So I love that you explained that so well. So what were you most concerned about before you became an entrepreneur?
I think just like, how am I going to make sure that I pay my bills? I think that most people can relate to that, right? So it was like, I have bills. I have to keep my lights on. I have to feed myself. I have to pay my rent or my mortgage or whatever it's going to be. And how can I know that this is going to work and I'm going to do that? And I think that you don't know.
No,
and that's where, like, that's where I like to say, like, you go into a different relationship with your spirituality. Like, I call myself a spiritual entrepreneur, which means that, basically I'm working with something else. I'm allowing something else to guide my choices and my decisions and help me. And there were times where I had like rough months, but something would show up. Maybe it wasn't the exact client I wanted, but it was a client that needed something that I had, and it showed up and I could pay my bills. And, that was in the first, I had kind of a very rocky first 5 years, because when I started, people didn't know what life coaching was. That wasn't something that was happening yet. So I had to do a lot of explaining of what this meant and who I was. And, it was rocky, but now it's great and I'm doing very well for myself. So that was the scariest leap for me.
So yes, I think that is something that everybody experiences. And I love that and the other message that we see that keeps recurring is, continuing on, because that you're doing something that is fulfilling you and you're going to attract the right people. And that persistence is what makes the difference. So just knowing that there will be times that might be somewhat discouraging, and knowing that you're going to continue on past those. And I think it's different than like pushing something that's getting no reception, like you're doing something that nobody's interested in. You should probably listen to that to a point, and try some different angle on it. A lot of times it's just a shift in how you're presenting it. So being open to adjusting, but that persistence to the core of what you want to do and making it real. And another thing that's so cool about everyone that's come on is this, like, something that's bigger than them. They want to have an impact on other people in a positive way. And that's really cool too, that I see coming from you as well. You really love showing people kind of like, unlocking that thing that's keeping them stuck. And that alone can be like a driving force to keep you persistent, right? Like thinking of the people that you're going to help who won't be able to get this help without you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Persistent. I use I have this thing for R's and C's. So like I love coaching and crystals and community, and like everything I love has a C. So one of the things I say, it's consistent, right? Which is very similar to persistent, but like really
Yes.
being consistent in your offer, in your the way you show up, in like your goals, just being consistent. Your best changes from day to day. But if like you're always giving your best without judgment and being consistent with it, that persistency, creates momentum. And that momentum then ends up serving you back, I think.
Absolutely. It's all about momentum.
Yeah.
So whatever is keeping you motivated, ride that wave without judgment.
Yeah.
So let's talk sales, an unavoidable part of business for any entrepreneur. How did you feel about sales before becoming an entrepreneur?
Well, I was kind of doing the marketing end for a company. And so it was like a very creative element of marketing, but I felt like, to me, I never really thought about sales. I just thought about, and I think if I do think about sales, like there's resistance there, and there's like, ooh, sales, there's energy around that. But for me, I think about problem and solution. So I have like a way where I go to my mind, a different association. So it's like, people have a problem, you have a solution, like Windex, right? Like you've got streaks on your glass. They've got a solution, literally, that can come in and make it sparkle. So everything is like that. And so if you can really learn what the problem is, and then you authentically feel like you have the correct solution for them, I feel like it's a natural fit. But if you go into it thinking, I need to sell them to, make sure that I hit my numbers, it's going to be you're going to offer a different vibration. You're going to offer a different vibe, and people feel that. So that's what, like when I'm talking to my coaches and we're talking about spiritual marketing and stuff like that, I kind of come in it from a different end. We don't really talk about sales. We talk about the offer. We talk about the solution. We talk about the transformation that they're paying for. Like when I help my coaches set their rate, we're not talking about their worth, because no one could afford your worth. We are talking about the cost that it takes to get them from point A to point B. We're talking about the transformation. They're paying for transformation. So that's kind of the angle that I come at sales from.
Yeah. But did you feel like that at first, or did it take you a while to get there?
I feel like I kind of always had that idea. I always had that, I'm not here to sell somebody. I'm here to partially because I worked as a personal trainer before, like when I was in college. And so it was always, we had sales there, right? You like had to close clients and stuff like that. But it was all, for me, even being in my early 20s, early 20s, it was always about taking somebody from point A to point B. It's like they came in because they wanted to lose 20 pounds. So in order to lose 20 pounds, I'm going to need, let's say, 20 weeks. Well, 20 weeks costs something. Like I can't just dedicate 20 weeks to you. So the other end of that was always, and here's the solution. Here's the format that, and it costs this much. For me, it was always like the sale, the cost this much is at the very end. And it was always talking about, so I think that working in a gym and working in real physical transformation kind of helped guide my mind into that space at a very young age before I was an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So the thing that's so great about that, a lot of people do just naturally get sales, like especially they're often introverts. So extroverts will wing it in the way that they have like a bunch of small talk, and they, relate to like, oh, my daughter does ballet, and like my grandma does Zumba, and whatever. It's different from sales actually, but they wing it and get by. Introverts, sometimes I meet people who just don't stress about it. What you explained is a sales conversation. It's understanding your situation, what's going on, and if it's something that I can help you with. And if it is, then I just explain how. And it's more of like a fact. Like it's just a fact that it's a fit. If you meet this criteria and this is what you're looking for, then it's a fit. And this is how much it costs. And is that investment realistic for you? And like, let's do this and get excited about it. And so there are people who just naturally do that. But there's a lot of people who maybe forgot their intuition or got too caught up on selling someone rather than understanding if this person was a fit, like beyond money. So that's so great that you always kind of like just realized that and had confidence discussing what the investment was, because there's no reason to feel bad about it. Like, I don't know why people feel weird asking for an investment for like information or time. Like, it's very normal to ask for and expect. And like your confidence, I can tell makes a difference in your delivery. So like that you're not like, and it's gonna be this much money, you're not like, you're like, and this is the investment. It's gonna cost me time. So this is how much it costs. And I'm not gonna waver on that.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I like to say is like, it took me 20 years to put together a formula that I can take you through in 5 months. Do you know how much time I'm saving you? Like, I'm saving you 15 and a half years of experiential effort that's an investment. Like, you're going to have to invest in that, because that's what I offer. So yeah, I've never really had, I know a lot of people, especially in the spiritual industry, struggle. They're like, well, these are my gifts, and how can I charge for that?
Hold on. So sorry for that pause, everybody. Please continue.
Oh, so in the spiritual world, I think there's a lot of people that don't want to charge for their gifts. They don't want to charge.
They feel weird.
And and I'm just kind of like, I've never had that issue. I feel like what I have inside is valuable. And if it can change your life, like when I go to a store and I want to buy spinach, I understand that spinach was at first a seed that was planted by a hand or a machine, that like it went through a process to become so accessible for me in the store. And I just honor that. And so I don't know. I don't have that same issue that a lot of people in my industry have had.
Well, and that confidence makes a huge difference in people buying from you. The confidence that I can give you this result and it's worth something, and it's worth this. It's probably worth more, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay. So last question, what do you recommend to other introverts considering becoming entrepreneurs?
I recommend that you go through a process where you really figure out like what it is that you ultimately want, what it is you're looking for. And then you strategically look at, how long it's going to take to get there, and how you can financially, emotionally, and spiritually support yourself if you're going to take the leap. Now, the other thing I say, it doesn't matter how prepared you are. It's a leap. And leaps are uncomfortable because you don't know if you're going to miss, right? And so it takes courage. It takes courage to come to that edge and say, I'm going to do this. And then you take the leap, and then you start figuring out that being an entrepreneur is like the world of no. And you have to become very accustomed to a lot of no. But then the yeses come sporadically, and the yeses are so huge. So if you can't stand no, it's probably not the space for you, or you're going to have a crash course in learning how to adapt to no, 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 so that you can, gain that callus to say, well, my yes will always be bigger than all those no's that I just encountered. And it's just about finding your way and never letting no stop you.
Yeah. Just not letting that, those moments that aren't exactly how you want, stopping you, and knowing that after every situation, you either got the result or the lesson you needed. So you are now stronger, smarter, or potentially more wealthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming, Sophie. I hope this has given other entrepreneurs a good idea, introverts, an idea of what it will be like to get into entrepreneurship and the courage to do it. And, we're not painting it as unicorns and rainbows, but, it's well worth it, extremely fulfilling. And introverts have a wonderful power that makes people want to work with you because you hear them and you empathize with them and you understand them. And that is a leg up in my experience. So, Sophie, how can everybody find you?
My website is awakenwithsophie.com, and I have a bunch of free resources on our website. We have over 35 meditations for free that no opt-in link, just they're there, and we update those playlists. There's different playlists like clear your energy or chakra balancing or starting your day. We also have a bunch of free workshops and different like worksheets and different things you can do, because I wanted to make this work as accessible to people as I can. So awakenwithsophie.com has a bunch of free resources, and check it out.
All right. Thank you so much, Sophie. And I will see all of you guys another time.
Yeah.